Good morning. We start our day at Musée des Arts Décoratifs, the Museum of Decorative Arts. On Monday, all the museums in Paris are closed, but we have a chance to visit the exhibition, which is called Walk This Way. If you see all these steps on the floor, you can imagine that it will be all about shoes. Shoes is really a very fetish piece for all the fashionistas, but especially it was a very important piece for the wardrobe because it was not only to decorate, but also to protect the feet of people through years from middle age till nowadays. And now we will discover the most craziest pieces, the most ancient pieces in different materials and made by different designers. Follow me. The exposition is called Walk This Way, but you will check with me so many interesting pairs of shoes that you will understand and you will agree, I hope, that it's not always that easy to walk with them. But we don't have only shoes here, we also have very beautiful painters and photography and documentary films. There are some traditional pairs who are presented here which belong to people from all over the world. And when we talk about shoes, of course, it's impossible not to talk about baby shoes. Here you have some pieces from children's collection from different countries and different periods. I like especially this one. This is a gift case which was sent to congratulate a young mother, and it is customary for the baby. The ensemble was meant to adorn the feet of future child of Princess Mary of England. But in 1920, pink color was already detected and was already enthroned as a girl's color, so the shoes were returned when they turned to Mary's baby was little Prince George. This is so cute, I like it so much. And one more interesting history about Chinese children also. These tiger's eyes are meant to protect a small newborn child from devils and from different harmful spirits who can come into the body and possess the soul. Shoes can be different, and since we are children, we know that there are also a lot of fairy tales about shoes. Like here, the most famous one, it might be this crystal shoe from fairy tale by Cinderella. And there are also some inspirations which comes from ancient Greek legends, like for example this pair of sneakers made by Jeremy Scott. And of course everybody as a child used to go to circus, and here you have the most curious examples of clown's shoes and some interesting video of one of the most famous clown of all the times, Charlie Chaplin. And this is exactly the shoe of Charlie Chaplin, which was filmed in the role of Charlot. Can you imagine? This genius man was wearing exactly this one piece. Shoemakers pay always a lot of attention to the structure of the shoes they create in order people could work comfortably, but the best way to feel comfy in your shoe is to have your wooden prototype made on measure. This one comes from Salvatore Ferragamo Museum. These shoes were made specially for walking on the sand of the beach or stepping into the water, like these Medusa shoes by Thierry Mugler. And this piece will be curious maybe for all our men watching our channel, because this is the official reproduction which was agreed by NASA. This is a moon boot which is composed of 25 layers. A lot of military shoes are also presented here in this space. Starting by 18th century, it goes through different wars in different centuries up to modern models like this one, for example, by Nicolas Ghesquière, which was made for Louis Vuitton runway inspired by military theme. This part of exhibition can seem to you a bit simple, but it is one of my favorites, and you will understand now why, because it brings some interaction with all people who come here to visit, and you can try walking with different kind of shoes, and now we will do it. So I choose this pair with high platforms. It will be my first one. It will be first time also I will work on such a high shoes. Let's see if I don't fall down. There is one more pair which seems rather curious for me. I was always admiring men walking with shoes like this in historical movies. So let me be the historical character now also. And I will tell you that the high platform is easier to walk with than these shoes. Let me take just a small break to admire one of my favorite movies of all the times. How funny it is, because now, right now, you can see all the girls stepping into the train wearing different heels. I like this movie, it's my favorite. I make just 2 minutes watching it. So here the smallest shoes in the world are presented, because before small feet was the ideal and it was the summum of nobility. And even here you can see this is a moquette and moulage of a lotus foot from one Chinese geisha. And when you have a look at this Chinese foot binding, I just fascinated and also impressed by how all the fingers on the foot were closed. That's why it is called lotus flower foot. Chinese foot binding has fascinated people in the West for a long time, and it still fascinates me. Anthropologists have even gone so far that they make this plastic cast of bound feet to show us the example of this centuries-old practice. And here we have a special stool which was used to change bandages, because the bandages had to be changed regularly, like twice a week. I want to give you one more interesting detail. The bandage of foot started at 6-year-old. Just 6-year-old girls put their feet into the hot water, and after they made their first bandages. And hopefully now in China this tradition disappeared a little bit. But before, going back to the 11th century, the smallest foot was just 8 centimeters. The most interesting shoe here is this one, which belonged to Marie Antoinette, 1792. And you can compare the size of the shoe, because we have a normal size of nowadays, which are drawn just around. So you can see that the foot before was really very, very small. This beautiful pair comes from Albert Museum. You have a lot of pieces here which arrived from private and public collections as well. And you can see how interesting is the design, but it's just impossible to imagine that now people will have such a very small feet. Before, it was really the summum of luxury and nobility. Let's discover now some pairs of slippers which went from inside the house, outside the house, and became real street shoe. Here we have different models. I want to show you my favorite one, which is embroidered with very beautiful dogs. Since yes, you can find a different variety of heels and platforms, and there are two options. Either woman always needs the support of a man to hold her by the hand and to help her walking, or either you are a woman which goes on the pedestal to be upper than everybody. It's up to you. Here we have a perfect neighboring of ancient shoes and of modern shoes. This one is really very impressive. I cannot even imagine the height of this platform. Unfortunately, we have no centimeters given, but just have a look and you will imagine by yourself if it is comfy or not to stroll around with such a pair on your feet. Here it's all about fashion and erotic approach to the shoe. That's why we have some pairs hidden behind the curtains. Let's have a look. For me, it's the same secret as for you, because it's my first time I can discover this stand. I think that shoe fetish is the most famous fetish in the world. Don't you think so? And this is one of the most famous pairs of Louboutin shoes. Wow, this is just unbelievable. We can say that it's an underwater world or something coming from the other planet. Here we have some more really very, very curious shoes, but I think that my comments will be useless. I just let you watch by yourself. Hope you enjoyed this visit with us and maybe you also got to know something new. I want especially to thank all the press team to give us this opportunity because they opened the doors just for us, for our team. So stay tuned and follow us for new adventures.